Now entering the ring, Youngstown's very own Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
I gotta tell you, I love that intro. I gotta love that intro.
I love the
You've
name.
got-
I love the name of your podcast.
hello. Welcome to another round of the Boom Boom Room. I'm your host, Ray Mancini, here with my ace corner man, Mike Case. And we got a very special guest today. And before we get to that, I was telling last week, I was traveling a couple weeks ago. I went to L.A., and my bag didn't arrive. My bag wasn't on the carousel, so you go there and say, hey, tell them what happened. They go, well, they check it out. And that's very sophisticated, right? Your bag was boarded, got on the plane. Your bag flew with you. It landed with you. It actually got off the plane with you.
It arrived.
But it did not arrive with me. It's like I said, it was like a Seinfeld episode. Isn't it? And I said it flew with me, landed with me, but didn't arrive with me. And that's not the most important part of the trip is to arrive with me.
Any update on that? Have we gotten anything out of that?
It's gone. God. Whoever got some nice drawers though, man, they had some good drawers in there.
Yeah,
I just
well,
want
sure.
to say this is an honor.
Thank you.
To
That's
meet
very
you,
kind.
not only all of us from
Well, I'm gonna let
Cleveland
Mike.
and around the state.
I'm
We're an honor to.
That's very kind. That means the world.
By the
Thank
way,
you.
we met many years ago, and I'm going to
Oh,
tell
I
the
can't wait
story.
to-
But
I
I
gotta
want
tell you
Mike
the
to
story.
I've already laughed
Mike,
more
okay,
before we
Mike's
started.
much better intro than I do. So
Billy Donato is here, Las Vegas entertainer, works at doing the Roxino in Northfield Park lately, and we're lucky enough to have him in the area, and he was nice enough to come over. Short turnaround for us. We had a show on Thursday.
Yeah.
We're back on Tuesday, and he was nice enough to jump in, and boy, we really appreciate it. And I didn't realize you guys go way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Before you go, I know you want to go.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Chomping
Go.
at the bit. I have to thank the folks here at the Avalon Inn and Resort and Avalon Golf and Country Club for having us. The Jersey Boys are coming to town in April. They have a hotel package for that. And, of course, they have their golf packages, their stay and play packages. Now, you pulled up here for the first time. I mean, what'd you think?
Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. We've heard
Said it
about.
reminded you of some places in Florida.
Yeah, actually, in Jupiter, you have some of where Tiger lives and Celine Dion and Ernie Els and the who's who out there.
and-
Trump bought the property over there in Jupiter.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, the Trump National.
And Burt
It's-
Reynolds there forever. Nobody would tell
Oh, you're
Jupiter
right.
was until Burt was there. Burt was the first
Yeah.
one that
Yeah.
Burt
Yeah.
brought to anybody's attention. Jupiter, like this little place that.
But this reminds me. I mean, I didn't realize how big this complex is. I mean, you have 3 golf courses.
Yeah, right. Well, one on this property, and then one about 5 minutes away, and then one about 15 minutes from
Well,
here.
all I have to
plus
say
the
is
hotel on campus.
We're talking as we speak about possibly bringing my show here to Avalon, including Mike Case. By the-
Fingers crossed.
Basically, Mike Case, we met a little ways back, and I want to thank you for bringing me here. And he told me about Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and of course, my first time on national television. I do song, dance, musical comedy. You haven't seen it yet, but soon. And my audience is they're gonna love it when you come on stage with me.
Oh, I will.
You know,
I know. I
it's
can't
gonna be
sing.
great.
I can't sing a lick, but it don't stop me.
You may
It don't
dance.
stop me.
Can you move your feet still?
Oh, I can. Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
I've been on
yeah,
stage.
Duncan, will you still
I've been on
move?
stage. I've been on stage with Smokey.
Uh-huh.
I've been on stage with Sam and Dave.
Wow.
I've been
Okay.
on stage with some
Better than
singers.
that.
Can't sing a lick. It
don't have
don't
to
stop
sing.
me.
You're
I
good.
harmonize like crazy though.
Wait, they're gonna love your dancing and your moving. And I know you have quick feet. I know you still have quick feet today.
I do a little James Brown. Woo, get out with it.
So
Get down with your bad self.
You remember him.
So
from,
here I am in Cleveland with my partner Shirley Morgenstern Topolo, and we represented.
Excuse me.
the
Wait,
state of
wait.
Cleveland.
Shirley Morgenstern
three
Topolo.
names.
Wait.
Three names. They hyphenated.
Wait.
When you
we
are a Morgenstern,
you
You don't want to lose that.
You
You know what I mean?
That was like
Wait a
Shirley
minute.
Morgenstern
Topolo.
Topolo.
She's my
Right.
partner because she remembers you too very well.
love that
so
name.
They fly us over to Hollywood, California, represent the state of Ohio. We're at Merv Griffin Studios in Hollywood, California, and this is a few
What
years.
year was this, you think?
You want to know what year this was?
Mhm.
I was only
You were
11, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 1985,
85. I just
Yeah.
got there. That's right.
and that's when you just got
I
there.
just got there.
So they have their taping. We're in the Merv Griffin Studios. We're staying at the Hyatt on the Sunset Boulevard,
Yeah.
and so they're taping a show before us, and we're all rehearsing backstage.
Taping what show? Tell
No,
'em
this
what
is the
show.
Dance Fever show, by the way.
Dance Fever.
And Dance Fever was a national TV show. We had people from 50 states and 14 or 50 different countries.
And the host was Denny Terry.
Terry.
Denny Terrio, but
Yeah.
then he left, and then the year we came on was Adrian's Men.
And Adrian's met, yes.
So it was
And
Adrian.
Adrian's a friend.
All right?
Adrian's a friend,
That's
yes.
right, and I know you
Adrian's
know
a
him.
friend.
So we're meeting all these people backstage. And then I meet Boom Boom right here, and with Barbara Eden from My Dream of Jeannie and Rue McClanahan. So who's judging our show when we go on there? Is Ray. He's sitting right in the middle, and sitting to his right was Rue McClanahan, Golden Girls, and to his other side was a
The guy from-
African American. Let's see, from Days of Our Lives, Carver. Remember we
I
mentioned
think
it.
he played
Rolf
Al,
Carver.
Al
Yeah.
Carver or something like that. On
So we
Days
met,
of
and he
Our
goes,
Lives.
"Oh, you're
You
from
remember?
Cleveland?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm from
remember.
Youngstown." This is just a year or two after, and you still had the world championship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You still
yeah.
had your
I'm
belt
still
at
in
that point.
84, yeah. Well,
So
84, no, 85. I
84.
lost
Did-
it in 84, and I had a rematch in 85 with Bramble. That was February, and then I came out in June. So
In June.
yeah. But
So
I,
How
we're
do you
on-
get hooked up with Dance Fever? I mean,
well, I
do
was
they
being
ask
represented. I was
you?
being, yes. Well, my agent. I was being
see.
represented by William Morris
And do you
at
know
the
a
time.
lot about dancing that you're
No,
qualified to be
yeah,
a
well,
judge?
I like to think so.
I better tell you about what really happened.
But,
I'll
but
tell you
when
the
you
real
got a good
story.
agent, you
I
get on
understand.
things you
I
never
understand.
thought
Let
you
me
get
tell you
on.
the real story. So we got along great, from the area, and Rue McClanahan there and the other gentleman. So now we're competing against two other couples. Here we are, a tap jazz couple, and we've been in some of the biggest stages. I mean, we're hot. We mirrored each other, okay? When we danced, we were a mirror of each other. We looked exactly alike in every step. Well, the group before us was a ballet couple, and the two guys after us were break dancers spinning on their head. So now, how do you determine that? Who's better, a ballet dancer, the tap dancer, or spinning on your head and doing some? And believe me, that was exciting stuff. What they were doing.
Yeah.
Well, they scored you between 85 and 100. So we get our scores, and Ray gives us 99. The other gentleman from Days of Our Lives gives us 99. Rue McClanahan was looking at my partner, Shirley, really mean. I didn't know why. Something about her she didn't like. She goes, 85. Oh, we would have been close to the top 5 in the country and around the world. Well, I end up meeting Ray afterward because we just hit it off. We got along, being from the same area, and of course, well, we all idolize you and what you
thank you,
did to
thank you,
represent everybody,
thank
and you're a hero to a lot of people. As I just met, 2 years ago, and very close, Bernie Kosar,
Yeah,
and you're
Bernie's
both from
great.
Youngstown.
Bernie's great.
And what a pleasure. So we met afterward, and we went to Whiskey Go Go and the Roxy after that. And we had a great time that night.
Great joints on the Sunset Strip. Great joints. Whiskey a Go Go was a hotbed for all rock and rollers.
It's
all,
still
It was.
all-
Kiss
still.
just played there
It-
2
all
weeks
rock
ago.
and roll-
They-
I
It
mean,
was
that's-
because when we went in,
That Jim. That's where Jim Morrison and the Doors got it discovered, and oh yeah, man.
well, when we went in, and I don't know if you remember this, sitting by herself, very shy girl, and I looked at her. I said, "Ray, this girl looks familiar," and I got closer, and I went up and said hello, and know who it was? Sitting by herself, real shy, Tony Basil. She just came out with her hit, "Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you're so fine." You just
Tony
came out with
Basil.
that.
Wow, and you know what? She was pretty woman,
Oh, absolutely.
but she was no young woman when that song hit.
So she's wearing a high school
no,
cheerleading uniform,
Yeah,
but
but she was not a
in high
young
school.
woman that hit. I mean, she was one. No, it's true. When you talk about determination, ran around. She banged around the business for a long time. She was not a young girl when that song hit, though she looked very young.
Yeah.
That's I'm just saying. She was beautiful, but I'm just saying that
know
that's
what
just
you mean.
goes to show. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
People.
Well, thanks for the 99.
Yes.
But if it were 100,
you
might
might
have
have
won
got
that
over the
thing.
top with Drew McClanahan.
Rue.
It was
of all
Rue.
people.
But I will never forget that. We just got along so well. It was so many years ago, but those are memories you never forget
no, it's
because
for
you know
sure.
we touch people with we touch their lives in ways sometimes we really don't know who they are, and it's with them the rest of their life. And
Right,
I
no,
know
you're
you've
right.
done that, and I've
right,
been fortunate, and I know you have too.
And I'm going to go a little sideways with this. I've said just as long as you don't touch him too much.
Well,
See,
yes.
I should have done that. See, he's nice. He got very serious.
Did you
but I'm just
go-
going a little sideways with that
like
one.
hashtag me too, or I'm not sure what you meant by
We
that.
have to
but-
we have to
I know
touch
what
them.
you
touch
mean.
people
We have
as long
to-
as we don't touch
Right.
them too much.
We have to touch them in a
Just
beautiful
mental, have a
mentally
mental-
mental
Yeah,
way.
just
their
enough. Just
heart.
touch them enough.
in their heart.
Well, we have to be careful because of the Me Too things that are happening. Because if someone wanted to take a career down, they could do that.
Oh, no,
and even
no.
if it's a
No,
total
no,
lie,
no, yeah.
just for the fact that it's
No,
even
I
mentioned,
just
we
said,
have to
yeah.
be careful when you're in the public eye.
I'm big on that because a lot of the stories that have come out over it. I'm not gonna rehash, but the gentlemen that have been getting banged and that are going up on charges, that stuff's been around forever. It ain't nothing new to people who knew. So these guys, hey, they're pigs, stone pigs, and things they did, they should be getting called up for it. People don't understand, but hard to say. When so I tell about people want to be actors, actresses, man. But it ain't the first, actor in the way, the greatest stars. You don't know what they do to get there because it's a man's game. It's a man's. It's an entertainment business, especially acting. It's the producers, directors. It's leading our men. So became a star actress. A lot of them had to do some stuff that you go, oh my, I can't believe this shit. But they did it because it got the career where they needed to get, and be able to do their job to become the star they wanted to become.
Right.
But having a daughter, I said, man, you hold on to your beliefs, you hold on to your morals, you hold all the things you try to teach your kids. But in the end of the world, and then result is you hope your kids hold on to them. But when you get offered, it's a very seductive game, as we know. And LA's seductive. LA's lifestyle is a seductive business. So entertainment's a seductive business. So what do they say? What's it when people get in the entertainment business? For two reasons. One, you can make a ton of money, and you can. And two, it's a sexy business. If it ain't sexy, why are we doing it? Right. A lot of people don't want to get involved. People get involved because it's a sexy business. I'm talking about as producers, people finance projects, films. It's a sexy business. And they want the red carpet treatment. They want the red carpet experience. So there's many reasons why people do it. But anyhow,
because even involved in athletics, I was very fortunate out of high school to sign and play with the Philadelphia Phillies organization.
Oh, beautiful.
So that was really part of my first career. So I moved to Clearwater, Florida, where they had spring training.
What year was that?
This is 1976.
Oh, well, Mike Schmidt was still there.
That's right.
Sure.
So I never made it to the major leagues,
no,
but I was very fortunate to play in their winter leagues down there.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
79, Toronto Blue Jays offered me a contract. But I said, I was turning pro. But I said, I don't know if that's such a big deal because they're second year in the league.
Yeah, they've only been around for
but
a year.
But I don't think I think they offered anybody a contract. We need players.
Well, Toronto, of course, was just north of Clearwater there in Dunedin. And so they had their spring training. They were in Dunedin, where they formed. That was just around that year, 75.
Yeah, Pat Gillick was the GM at the time.
But I used to get hand-me-down uniforms, from the major league guys. So my uniform, I had Larry Boa. It says Larry on my pants and the shirt. Larry Boa,
I love Larry Boa.
Must be your size.
All-star.
Oh yeah.
Back
man.
then,
And
back then we were the same size.
One of the greatest Phillies, and a hell of a manager too.
Oh, absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah, he could manage the game.
But you love. I didn't realize that you knew you ran across Muhammad Ali and Don King.
Absolutely. I've met Don King and Muhammad Ali when I started performing at the Tropicana.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the marquee shot with Muhammad Ali's name, and I'm very, very proud of that. But he used to come up to see a lot of my shows, and I used to bring him on stage, and we talked, and the audience would go crazy, just like they do when you come up. It's a little different. I'm sure
it's a little different. He was a little different, but
no, especially with the audience, they would.
The audience are great. The audience are great. They always treat me great. But he's no one bigger than sport. He was bigger than life, man. He really was.
He was, and then of course, we were with Don King, and then about a year and a half ago, here I'm doing Salute to America at the Hard Rock, and who's helping me promote that show? Mr. Don King.
Man,
Don King, who of course he's a Cleveland guy.
Right.
So it's kind of
Don only in America.
only
kid.
in America.
Only in America. Boom, boom, my man. Me and you take on the world, baby.
Did he
Did
ever
he-
do
did he-
the
oh, you
line
still wanna
of
rep-
Oh, he loved me. I loved him, man.
Did he want to,
Yeah.
or did he do any promotion?
No,
to
he
work
never
with him?
promoted. He wanted to, but because at that time when Bob Aaron was my promoter, but after the three,
Bob Aaron was?
Bob was.
Oh, okay.
But after my three, when you win a title, when you sign for a title shot, whoever the promoter is, he gets options on you too. So if you win the title, he has options. He gets 3 options. Then after the third one,
Which means he gets 3 more fights.
3 fights.
Okay.
And on the third option, they want you to sign another. Before the third fight, they want you to sign another 3 option. And if you refuse to, well, then they good chance a lot of them try to get you beat, or a lot of them say okay. So Bob would try to get me beat. But what I'm saying is, Bob, I became a free agent, and Bob respect that. And then he bid against every other promoter, and he usually won. So he kept being. But a few times, a few other independent promoters came and signed me for a particular fight. So that's what every fighter wants to do is fight to become a free agent. But Don was bigger than boxing. People always say, "But Don King." I said, let me tell you something. Don King, Bob Arum, put all the promoters from yesteryear today, put them in a blender. They basically come out the same because it's the same people, different names, same people. Meaning, it's a business. It's a very, very tough business. Business like no other, and wise guys will tell you that. Wise guys will tell you this business like no other, man. We don't, because it's a different game. So guys like Bob and Don that existed and lasted as long as they did because they were that good. And Don King he was the one guy. He was one guy. Bob was a very private guy. Don, but it was always a great event. So when Don made an event, you knew who the fight was because he let you know. And that's the great thing about being a promoter. He was the true modern day P.T. Barnum.
That's a great analogy. I never thought of it that way, but there's no question about it. And I think he's still to this day. I know that he promotes stuff. I'm not sure if he's in the fight business.
He's Don's old. He's pretty much out of the game. I mean, he has an announced retirement, but he's got his hands dabbling a little bit. But really, he's basically retired. Yeah, he's retired. So, but
you were talking about Wise Guys.
Yeah,
you've seen Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah,
remember that show?
Yeah.
And they have the actors that look like the people that really happen.
Sure.
He did Unsolved Mysteries.
Wait a minute,
Speaking
my
of Wise
episode
Guys,
my episode is still airing. Let me tell you about Unsolved Mysteries. So, they had in the city of Rock Creek, Ohio, between Cleveland and Youngstown.
I don't know where Rock Creek is.
It's in between Cleveland and Youngstown. I think it's a little bit northeast, in between Cleveland. Well, Rock Creek in the 1960s, there was a police captain who was found dead. He was trying to break up a theft and drug ring coming from Youngstown to Cleveland because they would go through Rock Creek, okay? And they found him in the middle of the night, dead, smashed against a tree in his police car. Well, the autopsy said, it was late at night. They think that he was really tired and so forth, and it was an accident. Well, guess what? 20 years later, his kids are growing up in Rock Creek, and his kids, they knew that there was someone in Rock Creek that lived there who set him up. It was the setup to look like an accident, but it was really a murder. So they exhumed their father's body, and they did another autopsy, and they determined that this was intentional, and it was a murder. And they found some holes and so forth. It was shot and set up to look like it. So his kids called Unsolved Mysteries, and at that point, the host was Robert Stack.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so out of Chicago, I was with David Lee Talent out of Chicago and Cleveland. We had an audition. Of course, the audition was similar to what we're doing here right now. There was no lines. They just said, talk about yourself a little bit and ad lib and improv, and that's what my shows are all about.
That's
by the
right.
way.
That's right.
No two audiences are the same. No two people you're with. So no two performances are the same. Just like the boxers that you
That's right.
face now. So I played the role of a police captain who was killed, and so we went to Rock Creek on location. We had to have all the police department surround it, and between a 2 and 3 mile barrier, because they felt like if that person was around, they'd try and come in and kill some people. I mean, it was really high security. So I basically played that role. And
did you play him before he died too, or are you just showing up against the tree? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you doing stuff at the precinct
this
that
is
day?
before. This is before.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's all the setup before. So they had me in, for instance, a barn where there was a Corvette, and it was a hideout. So it was hiding out, and these criminals were going to come in and steal cars, and there were drugs in the car, and so they hired these other actors who were playing the role of these bad guys, and they would just tell me, Billy. They had, of course, the policemen and everybody would show me how to actually shoot the gun and make sure everything's realistic and all that. So when the guys came in, my adrenaline was pumped. They says, Billy, why don't you do is you grab this guy when you see him, you get him, you throw him around, throw him against the wall, cuff him, everything's got to be real, And typically it takes many, as you know, for a lot of people, many, many takes. So my goal, I says, we're going to do this in one. But anyway, wait a minute. So the guy comes in. I grab the guy. I pick him off the ground. My adrenaline's flowing. I feel like I'm really. You feel like you're the part of the. I throw him against a wall and at the barn, and the guy's screaming. He goes, he's really screaming, right? And I turn him around. I grab his arms and I'm cuffing him and everything. I said, I can't say those words.
Actually, you can.
Yeah, because this is live stream.
That's great.
Yeah, that's it. There's no.
I cuff him. I'm looking down his wrist. He's bleeding. Okay.
You made the actor bleed?
Oh, he's bleeding and everything.
Realistic. You got
to
realism.
The director goes, cut, fantastic. That's a keeper, And this guy goes, you son of a bitch, why'd you do that to me? I says, get the hell out of here, will you? And I'm treating him like he's still a criminal.
I'm in character.
Get out of here.
Did you have to do research for the part?
No, my research.
Do you have to learn about the crime?
I do research on everything I do.
Okay.
So I talked to the family. I talked to the kids, and certainly we spent a lot of time with them.
Really?
And this meant so much to them that we were even doing this. So today, what's happening is that I just talk. We get residuals every year from the show, as you know about
Yeah.
that. But I talked to the production company, and they're starting up. They said, Billy, your show now, they still have, it's been in syndication, but now it's going to Netflix, and it's going to these other shows.
Beautiful.
But what they're doing is they're starting a new Unsolved Mysteries that's going to be an hour-long show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're in the
new,
process
New
of
version
starting
of it?
to- yeah.
Now, your residual checks, what are they down? Like, I get stuff from residual checks, 10 cents, 11 cents.
Do you
Liter-
really?
Oh, yeah. I got one.
yes,
I literally got
yes.
one
For
for
that
1
Dance
cent.
Fever thing?
1 cent.
Yeah.
1
And I said,
cent.
why would you send it to me? Yeah, no, literally.
You should frame that.
Well, I do. I don't spend. Oh, I got about 10, 12 of them. You know, the highest one was like
yeah.
$2.50, but I got 38 cents, 26 cents. I mean, you keep them
Well,
because
that is a Seinfeld
Remember the
episode.
joint? There was a joint out in the valley
about residuals.
on
Go ahead.
Ventura.
Yeah.
Residuals called Residuals. That was the
Okay.
name of it. All the starving actors. I mean,
Really?
there. It was called Residuals on Ventura Boulevard out in the valley in Studio City, and they had up our thing residuals. Guys, actors would come in and work at 10 cents, of the lowest residual check they got.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, to this day, you know, if you do a national
Yeah.
TV commercial,
It's-
television
Give
commercial,
residuals forever.
you're getting
your
mid.
great grandkids
You're
will
getting
have 'em.
mid to high
Yeah.
500 to 800 grand
Yeah.
a year
Yeah.
because your residuals, there's points in every state and every.
Yeah.
Look at these people on this.
There's guys who make living just off of being do
make-
commercials and make very good
All
living.
right, you know the one girl who's on the insurance commercial.
Flo.
Flo.
She's making millions. Okay, millions.
Right.
And some of these people, these are TV commercials. Why do you think you see some of those top stars that they're really? I can't find work in film or TV. What do they do?
We're going back to commercial.
They had
Like
Right.
the State Farm guys from The
right,
Office.
Right, right. But why do you think a lot of guys? But first, if you do commercials domestically,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a star, you can't. That's why they go to Asia. They go to Japan. You'll never see Robert De Niro doing a commercial here. But in Asia and Japan, big.
Well, they're paying
Big,
even more money out there in Europe.
Millions. Mickey Rourke, who's a dear friend, will go to Japan to do a commercial. He never do it here because if you do it here, it's a kiss of death for your career as an actor if you're an established actor. But now that's changing a bit. But you still ain't going to see De Niro or these guys doing commercials there. But you'll see TV actors doing commercials and stuff because
Who's the guy that was in Snakes? The movie Snakes.
Oh, Sam Jackson. Oh, Sam's a
He's-
friend, but it's a different thing.
He's doing the American.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
credit-
No,
these guys
Sam,
are making.
and
a
it ain't
ton.
hurting. It ain't hurting him. No, it ain't hurting his career. But character actors can do it, and they've been doing it. But Sam's a star
You're
because of
talking
his
about
age.
the big stars.
Yeah, but they won't do it. They'll it's just because they want to keep that mystique.
You probably have done many, have you?
No, I've done a lot. No,
Some-
I've
how
done
about
some
TV?
commercials. Yeah, no, I've done.
I've
I've
seen you
done
done a
something.
couple
I've
films.
done 18 films.
Wait a
I've
minute.
done
Tell me.
off Broadway
You
stage.
know what's
I've done
really
that.
cool is you've had how many movies that were done about your life story.
That's kind of trippy. I've actually had.
Wait, are we counting the Rocky movies?
Well, it's funny. People say,
Well, I see you with Sylvester Stallone. He has to really you probably have a great relationship with him. Don't
Well,
you?
yeah, well, Frank and Sly's a good guy, man. But you know what? Even better was with Arnold. I was better friends with Arnold
Really?
because we used to go to church together. Our kids made the first communion together and everything. So anyhow, that was kind of cool. Robert and the difference between Sly and Arnold, they're both good, great guys. They hang out Saturday afternoon, Cafe Roma, Beverly Hills. They got their table. Arnold's always there. One of them's there. They're out of town, but their guys are still there. But the difference between the two is Arnold can make fun of him. He's self-deprecating. Sly can't quite do that.
That's interesting.
That's the difference. When Sly tried to do comedy, it didn't come off good. It came off kind of very awkward. Where it comes down to Arnold because he's self-deprecating.
Got it.
You
yeah,
know.
that's
But anyhow,
interesting.
two of the big stars, and both great guys. Both great guys. You know.
So how many movies about you?
That's
No,
so
no,
cool.
I don't know how many about me. There was a TV movie. They did the documentary, and that's pretty. And then that was it too. But I mean,
Here's
they-
I'm curious. I'm curious about something.
Go ahead.
right? Could they do a movie about your life and you not be part of it?
Yeah, that's happened. They did it.
And
They
how-
actually
that-
they did something. They did a there was a show.
You would think that you'd have to be.
There was a
how
play.
can they
No,
do
there was
that?
a play done about me in L.A. A play. Guy wrote a play. You know, they wrote a play about the incident in my fight career, which I get it. Okay, and I had nothing to do with it. I'm not doing it. They just let me know. Okay, what am I gonna do? You can't tell me you can't. You can't tell.
You
but
can't?
No, it's public
Okay.
domain.
I
Just
wasn't
like
sure.
someone, just
Public
like someone
domain.
writes a book about
Right.
you. Sometimes
And
they
they
do
can't
it without
put my
your-
name- I've been- my name's been in-
unauthorized.
My name's been in books, many books. But Stephen King put me in the one Tommy Knockers. My name's in there. I love that stuff. You can't do nothing about it if they want to use it or not. When Warren Zevon wrote the song, he told me after the fact. But I was flattered and honored. Wasn't gonna do. I was
Sure.
very flat. But point is, when you're public domain, they could, they can't, Now it'd be nice to get my involvement. They could, but they don't have to. That's
I
my
got it.
Yeah.
How did you? Can I ask you about your career a little bit?
Yeah.
Yep.
Were you one of the kids that was like doing skits and singing for the family and stuff like that, or how did it evolve into where you thought this is what I'm going to do?
Never. I never thought in a million years I'd be involved in entertainment. This is crazy. It's kind of like an out of body experience. My whole goal in my life was to do nothing but play for the Cleveland Indians. That was my whole goal. Growing up,
Who sucked,
I
by
played
the way.
football,
the time.
baseball, basketball. That's what we grew up doing.
Yeah.
I had varsity letters, baseball with football. I was on a track team. We had a bunch of kids in our neighborhood. Every time it was that part of the season, that's what we would play all the time. But I didn't have the size for basketball or for football outside of that. And I did very, very well. I was always on winning teams. I was a captain of the teams. I was written up. I've had no hitters that I pitched. And I had scouts following me from when I was 16 years old with baseball.
Beautiful.
So after high school, my father now was a singer and a drummer by night, and he was a math professor by day over at Beechwood High School. So I was exposed to entertainment, but I was never involved in it. But here I am as a performer. Here you are as a boxer. You have those fans in the stands, man. You're performing with your style and what you do. I'm performing, making diving catches, no hitters, hitting home runs. So the fans are like, they're the audience. So I was involved in a way in entertainment. But after that, after being with Philadelphia organization for a while, I played in the Cleveland AAA here during the summers, which is a semi-pro league. But I had a friend who said, Billy, hey, why don't you work with Americom or Tuxedo? There were dancing models down a runway with 1,500, 2,000 screaming women, all these bridal shows. Would you like to be part of it? So I did. Now I had no experience. This is how I didn't know how to dance, sing. I didn't know how to do anything. But I was one of 10 guys. And when we come down the runway, for some reason, I did very well. We got fantastic reactions and so forth. But I said, you know what? I want to learn maybe how to dance. So that's how I started studying tap dance. And we started.
Tap's great.
But then I didn't want to. I thought after a week, I'd give up. The toughest thing I ever tried in my life. But that competitiveness, like you, to be in professional athletics, that competitiveness we grew up with from as a little kid, 2 or 3, to this day, it stays with us the rest of our life. And I'll tell you something. When I get involved in the entertainment business, I think it's a big advantage because I look at it as an athlete. Come on, I love competition. The more, the better, baby.
Right.
And I know you thrive on competition.
No,
And that carries over in everything we do, don't you
But
think?
no, there's no doubt. You want to, I want to compete. You want to do what? It's fun talking about tap. I actually took tap classes out there just because I want to try something different.
Tony
Try-
Danza did the same
Tony,
thing.
Tony. I mean, he has a whole show doing tap. He tells the jokes. He sings a little
Yeah,
bit.
right.
And he's actually pretty good. He's
Is
actually
he?
pretty good. No, he's actually pretty good tap dancer. He's been doing the show on Broadway.
Well, you have
off
great
Broadway.
footwork. You had to
But
work on your
But I
footwork.
did it and I had fun with it. But you know what? I didn't stick to it. I would like it was something I enjoyed, and I stuck. I've tried it, and I said, okay, I did that. So I moved on to something else. I my attention span is that of a gnat. I have attention span of a gnat. I don't stay with. I haven't stayed with a lot of things too long, only because I want to try different things. Like I once I said I did. Okay, I tried just to try. But I'd love to go back and try to master it, obviously. But there's other dreams and goals I have in entertainment. See, that's the thing. My good point. And I'm saying is, when you're a young guy, you're an athlete. You just said it. When you're an athlete, you're competitive. You want to be successful and you want to be good at whatever you do. And when you go in the entertainment business, it's the business where, yes and no is not the norm. No is the norm. You're bust out. Go try something else. Now I wasn't told that, but I know people who were, and you hear that, and why people are actors and entertainment people in entertainment have therapists wait on call because they get always being beat down on, and you wonder, and you also know why actors and entertainers when they become a star become jerk offs, because now. Anybody told them they become jerk offs, and if you look, it's human nature. Most people handle failure. we're not equipped to handle success like you have. Most people handle failure because you fail much more than you succeed. Many of us and most of us don't handle success. So this is why when you see why these entertainers, whether actors, athletes, and singers and stuff, and then they OD. People, they had to roll by the ass because success of that magnitude is something that we're not prepared for, and nobody taught you that in school, and there's no manager, no agent that could tell you. It's trial and error. That's why when I was fighting, I had fun with it. Really, I had fun with because it was borrowed time. My father taught me that. My father let me know. One day the headline, next day the breadline. Same people calling you champ on the way in, will be calling you bum on the way out. Don't take it serious. Meaning the fame. But I had fun with it. But I like to think I handled it well. People would argue with that. I'm sure saying, I was a jerk off. But hey,
you're bringing a really good point, because I think success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get.
that's right.
And in my business, I've been around the top live performers in the world for many, many years. And you can see, people talk about nepotism too. You talk
That's
about
right.
film.
I'm
and
big
guess
on
what?
nepotism.
No,
I'm
right.
big on that.
So here's what happens.
If my son's right, which
Yeah.
he is for my.
Well, let me explain. There's nothing wrong with nepotism, but here's what happens. A lot of people say, look in this movie. It's their cousin, their brother, their sister, or their father's involved, so they're involved. Yes. Well, they could bring them. The name could help, and there's nothing wrong with that. They could bring them to the top. But here's the difference. You have to have talent, not just to get to the top, because it's not that hard to get there, but to stay there is the key. And so to stay there, you've got to have the talent to back it up, right?
Billy, I would say,
Right?
Absolutely. That's why I said when you're on the climb, you're the hunter.
That's right.
Once you get there, you're the hunted. Little different game.
Now,
different game.
I've never actually asked this to a boxer, with someone with your fame, a world champion. And I have an analogy to boxers where people say when you work your way up, so many times I had an old mentor. They used to teach Joel Gray, who won the Tony and Oscar. He was
performer.
Well, Dave Morgenstern, who's Shirley's husband.
I was just saying, there's
the-
Morgenstern
the
again.
famous Morgenstern.
I always think when you say, I'm thinking of Rhoda Morgenstern. Remember the show Rhoda?
Yeah.
Rhoda
Well, let me tell you
Morgenstern.
what he did. I was with him from 83 and 93, but he was one of the old masters. He taught in the 60s, Joel Gray. I was his last protege before he passed away. And he said, Billy, you don't know what you're going to do, because remember something. You can have Tom Cruise to your left and Paul Newman to your right, but remember something. You have something different to offer than everybody else in the world. You have your own personality. So always remember, try and be yourself, because so many times in entertainment, maybe this happens with boxers. I have to ask you this question. You fight so hard to get to the top and try and get to that world championship. And we see it with, how about MMA?
Yeah.
And sometimes we see this with boxers, and I need your opinion. So finally you get there, and you see them get to the championship fight, and all of a sudden that fight, they're not working in the style that got them there. They think that they have to fight the way the champion fights to be a champion, instead of what
Stay
got
who
them there.
they-
And you say if
stay
they
who they
only
are.
would stayed with their own style,
Yeah.
what got them there, they could win it. Now tell me.
No, it's funny you said that, because when I was training people, you always stick with what has gotten you there.
Yeah.
That people say, boom, you a guy who kept coming, but you took a lot of shots. I said, yeah, but I like to think I made a miss once in a while. I said, look, when I was in the gym, I boxed like Willie Pep. I looked like a young one, but that isn't what got me to the title. If I had to, and I did in certain fights when I got cut, I could box with the best of them. But you stick with what gets you to that. You stick with your strengths.
There you go.
But you got to be able to do call an audible, if need be. And that's what you always stick with your strengths. Not only in entertainment, in sports, but in life. Stick with your strengths. And
Right.
that's why I said, that's why I always laugh. When you said earlier, people say, you got to just be yourself. I always tell people, yeah, I don't know how to be anybody else. I mean, guess
guess
you hear
what?
it all the
That's
time. I
easy
don't know how
for-
to be anybody
Seems
else.
simple,
Well,
doesn't it?
it's
It
easier
does.
for
It
wait a
does.
minute.
But it's not, because the one thing about acting is actors are actors are liars. We're all liars. We're hip because we're trying to be somebody else, and we always playing somebody else, and everybody else, somebody else and everybody else but ourselves. And that's why I got to kick. But that's why when they say you got to be able to lose yourself into the character, and if you're not willing to give yourself over to the character, don't do the role. Because there are many times I see things, I've said, no, I ain't doing this, so I turn that. I'm not doing certain things, but for the, because it's all for the art. I get it. So if you're not willing to give yourself over to the character, turn the role down. Don't
Why
do it.
wouldn't you be willing to give yourself?
Well,
Go ahead.
Wait a minute.
No,
So
I'll tell you
here's
in a second. Don't
here's
worry.
the ultimate. When when I'm performing in my goal, people used to laugh. I said, you know what? Someday I want my name in lights and Las Vegas Bowl. They used to laugh. I have to go against the odds. People saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you're never going to do it. Well, that put more fire underneath my ass.
Sure.
And just proving people wrong.
Of
And
course,
that's
as
been,
always.
that's been
Biggest
my
motivator,
life,
right?
Yeah. So what you were saying is you try to reach your goals and so forth. What's the question you just asked?
Why wouldn't you want to just give
Well, here's
yourself to a
because here's the
character?
issue. It
If
goes
you
to
could
what
do
you
it, if
just
somebody
said,
taught you
Ray.
to do
I'm
it.
gonna answer that.
It goes to what Ray just said too, because certainly as an actor you've got to play a role of being someone else. But did you ever notice that sometimes some of the best roles are similar to the way you really are?
Yes, of course.
And those are the best
well,
because
you
you can
gotta-
if you can have those.
But you got to find yourself in every. You got to find yourself in every character. Here's Mike. To answer your question, like for instance, I'll tell you first story in a second. Like I'm not gonna go on and do a homosexual scene. Not that that's just not me.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
Okay. So, but if so,
gotta
actors
draw the
will-
line.
No,
Okay.
no. I'm not. No, it's okay.
Okay.
Like, but there's some. Now, Eddie O'Neill just did a role. People don't know. He just did a scene for Jordan Peele. His first kissing scene, and it's not with it's with the man. And then he makes a joke about it. It was a young kid. He goes, "Hey man, you got one take with this." And he says, "And I'm one taking the lead. I'm the one taking the lead." But then he did his first kiss scene. But he's an actor, and he gives.
But-
And I
but he
admire
tur-
it. I'm not saying another thing. So I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that because look, I look at actors like John Garfield was my favorite actor. He ain't doing it. Now Al Pacino was, but Al Pacino did that now because he's a character. He's a method actor. I get that. I'm not that guy. But I see Arnold doing it, and I certain guys I admire, and I'm not doing it. So that's just me. That's just me. Not because homophobia or not. No, I'm just because people say, look up and say, that's not Ray Mancini's kissing another guy. It's because they're going to say Boom Boom Mancini's kissing another guy. I'm not willing to do that. In the same respect, I was doing a film years ago called Iron, with Lou Gossett and Rachel
Eagle.
Iron Eagle, thank you. Iron Eagle 3. Lou Gossett, Rachel McGlish. Rachel McGlish was the female bodybuilder. She was the female Arnold, winning all these awards. Beautiful girl. She married, her husband was the promoter. Ron was the producer. Ron, I forgot Ron's last name, but he's a good guy.
Morgenstern?
No, right. Here's what. Anyway,
coming back,
We
don't
did a
worry.
scene. I'm playing a guy playing a tough guy, playing a thug role, whatever. They said, Ray, and the director said, Ray, here's the scene. You're gonna come in and you're gonna have the gun, and Rachel's gonna grab you and she's swinging around and she's gonna beat you up and she's gonna throw you around, beat you up. I go, no, that ain't happening.
Was it in the script or was he
yeah,
ad-libbing
no,
it?
it was this. I said, no, that ain't happening. Director said, what? I said, that ain't happening. He said, what do you mean it happened? I said, she ain't beating nobody's ass. And she ain't beat my ass. I mean, Rachel.
They got a stunt person.
No, Rachel
No.
could beat that. But she
got a
ain't beat
stunt-
my ass. I said, what Rachel? I said, see, the one thing you learn about acting, first thing the acting coach said, you don't have to convince the audience. You don't have to convince the audience. If you have to convince the audience, I say, ain't nobody can believe she's beat my ass, and I ain't doing it. And they looked at me. I said, well, get somebody else. And Ron, her husband, I said, Ron, I appreciate that. I said, I'm trying to make my name as a young actor. I said, how
Was
am I
this in
gonna-
auditions? Or this
no,
was
no,
during
no,
the
no.
film?
This was I got the film. This is during the filming.
Well, didn't they know?
No.
You didn't know they changed it?
No,
You didn't know
no,
it was
they
gonna be
wrote
there?
the scene. They always want to have
They
your
probably
typical
changed it.
fight scene. You got to get the gratuitous fight scene with
But
me.
you
and her.
didn't know that
No,
was
no,
gonna
no.
happen.
And I said, she ain't beating nobody's ass.
Got it.
Nobody's gonna buy that. I said, is Arnold getting his ass whipped in a film? I said, no. Arnold's a bodybuilder. I was a fighter, world champion. He ain't whipping his ass because you could not go and do another superhero for showing that a female whipped his ass. Nobody's believing it then.
Right.
And I said, I'm an actor. I said, but I'm not a starving actor. Go get somebody else. And they changed. So make the long story short, I did the movie. They changed the thing where you see the before and then you see the after. I'm on the ground. I said, okay. But not during. There was no, she's whipping my ass, throwing me around. And Rachel was a lovely woman. It wasn't her.
Oh, I
And it wasn't
see.
her husband, Ron. I said, Ron, but I didn't, no, that ain't happened. He understood.
Yeah, I
but
get
but
it.
the director was like, well, it's acting. That's what I tried to tell you. It's like what they try to do with these young female actresses who finally get their shot. Well, you know what? Take your top off. Well, that wasn't in the script. Yeah, I'm just looking at your beautiful young girl. Take your top off. And the girls will do it. They don't want to do it, because if they don't do it, they get fired. You know what? And I tell any actor, I told my son who's an actor, you do nothing you're uncomfortable with, you don't do. Tell me to get
Right.
somebody else. Stop saying, you know what? Hire somebody else. And then the actress, man, stick to your. If ain't nobody got to do nothing. Tell them to get another actress. Period. But I know how tough it is for actresses. It really is tough. So you get opportunity. This is why a lot of these stars that we know of the great stars of yesteryear from the 30s to 40s now, they did a lot less for a ham sandwich. Believe me.
Don't they have a lot of body doubles though?
They do now because when you get to a certain point, and even back then, when you're a certain star value, then they say use a body double to be the one taking the clothes off.
Right.
But not at the beginning. They had to do it to get to that point. They had to do it until they became a star. So all I'm saying is the acting is a seductive business, but you can't lose who you are, man. And that's common out there. And that's why, and then in Hollywood's a game that'll spit you out, chew you up, spit you out, think nothing of you. So you got to know who you are and what you're willing to do. I wasn't willing to do that. I mean, and that's why.
Well, you're not just an actor, aren't you involved too, directing,
I'm
producing?
not directing, producing. And that's why I started my own company and producing, because I said
That gives you more control,
I said
right?
I got to
Gives you full
control my own
control.
destiny.
I
I
got
can't
it.
be doing have other people dictate whether I'm going to work or not. Casting directors, casting directors can't get the next step, or a director or a producer. I told you a story about the story about Quentin Tarantino, and you ever heard this? It was all
no.
over the internet when I did
I didn't see it.
in Reservoir Dogs. I went up for Reservoir Dogs. I get third callback. The first time you get a good, they said I see something. Second callback is a good thing.
Are you going to be like one of the guys? One of the.
I was going to play
criminals?
Mr. Pink,
Okay.
which was Steve Buscemi.
Okay.
I tell the story all the time.
Okay.
Actually went all over and went viral a couple of months ago, about last year. Second callback, they see something they like, and they call you back. And they say, "Oh, I got a third callback." Now, when you get a third callback, they pretty much know they're just between you and another actor or two actors. Okay. Third callback, I come up, and an actor, when you go on an audition, when you kick ass, and when you sting the joint out. I stung the joint out plenty of times, but this time I was right on. I kicked ass on this audition, and Quentin Tarantino went back and goes, "Wow, man, you were great, man. You were right on, but I can't give you the role." I said, "What?" He said, "I can't give you the role." I said, "What do you mean you can't give me the role?" He said, "People will look at you and going to say that's Boom Boom Mancini. It'll take him right out of the movie." I said, "Now there's a table between." I said, "So why would you have me come in a third time?"
That's right.
He says, "Because I was waiting for you to fail, but you didn't. You're right on." I said, "So he says, I said, so you want me to fall? You looking for me to fail, so you didn't have to give me the role. But the fact that I run, you still can't give me the role." He said, "No, I'll take him right out." So I went out and I said, "Let me tell you something. Son," I said, "Who you think you're?" I said, "I'll come over and I'll rip your heart out. I'll make you piss blood for a month. I don't you ever treat me like a jerk off." And he's like, now he's going, oh, and people. Now I'm bumping the table and I'm pushing the table back. People go, "Oh my God, Mr. Mancini, man!" I said, "Don't you ever treat me like a jerk off. I come up and I'll beat your ass half to death." And he's, "Oh," and I stopped. I caught myself, and I turned around and I realized now I'm in a room full of people. It's a business where if you think you're a headache or a problem, you ain't getting nowhere.
Right.
So I caught myself. I started walking back, like walking away. I stopped. I turned around and said, "How was that for acting?"
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You somebody.
Oh,
But I
I was gonna
wasn't.
say that.
But I wasn't
Right,
acting.
right,
But I
right.
wasn't. I was gonna rip his heart out. But I realized at that moment, I caught myself. If I didn't play it off,
Very good.
So my point being is, these are the type that happen all the time, and this is why I started my own company. I said, if I'm going to work, I got to have some control
So
of my
what ended up
destiny.
happening that he didn't?
No. And then Steve Buscemi got the role. Now, Steve Buscemi got the role. Steve's a very good friend of mine. We did movies together. That's funny. People say, "Oh, Steve Buscemi. Well, you could play it. That's Steve." I said, no. Don't get it twisted. Steve was wonderful. He was wonderful in the role. I'd have been just as good. Different, but as good. Different. That's what people understand. When you hear about the great roles, like when Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon, right?
Yeah.
George Raff had the role. And at the last minute, he turned it down. So they got Humphrey Bogart. And they go, "Oh, nobody could do it," but Humphrey Bogart, or the Casablanca. Again, it was George Raft. 2 times. He turned it down. Humphrey Bogart. "Oh, nobody could do it but Humphrey Bogart." Well, he didn't have the role. He wasn't the original choice. So that's my point. But he did it. There's a lot of actors that turn down roles, like, Mickey Rourke. Mickey, very different. Turned down Beverly Hills Cop. Turned down Top Gun. This is at the time.
So he had it.
He had it. He turned it down. Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop, and one other major commercial piece. Turned him down. He said, "I'm not flying around." And Mickey was a method actor. Man, he's a real actor. Still, And he said, man, I ain't gonna fly around, shoot. What
Is
am
he
I
still? Is he still acting?
Oh yeah, no, Mickey, and Mickey's a dear friend. We speak all the time. Spoke to me actually yesterday. But my point
Good.
being is, Mickey sticks to who he was. I said, why? I said, Mick, you could have made it. Show him. I ain't doing-" But but could you imagine? You can't think of Eddie Murphy playing Beverly Hills Cop,
Right.
Tom Cruise doing Top Gun.
Right.
Mickey would have been just as great, but different.
Right.
Brings a different flavor to it. That's all. And that's like any actor. You bring something to the table. And that's why don't ever, man, that's what I tell people. I tell my son, don't you ever go get what you believe. Your gut's going to always guide you. If you don't like the role, don't do it. If you're not willing to give yourself over, like I told Eddie doing his kissy, I said, could you imagine that? He said, what's the matter with that, Pop? Because he's an actor. I said, Leonardo, nothing's wrong with it for you. It's wrong for me in the sense that I'm not. I am who I am. I'm a fighter that turned actor. I'm not gonna be kissing guys on screen. That's not me. Not that if I started as just a guy coming to work in the acting world to come from nowhere, I'd do it because you got to give yourself over to the role, or you don't do it.
There's a real analogy, and you know what? Here's what I love. I love the fact that you have so much passion for
got
what you're
to.
talking
You
about.
got to, man.
Which is fantastic. But here's an analogy here, and I'm really relating to a lot of things you say. Boom, boom. Because when I'm on stage for an hour 15, hour and a half, solid, every second, with song, dance, I have to work in the audience. I have no idea a lot of times what I'm going to do.
Right.
No two shows are the same because no two audiences are the same. But I have to tell a story. With each song, you tell a story of what that song is about.
That's right.
So are you really acting? The bottom line is I'm being myself, but you're still acting and putting that you have a beginning, a middle, and an end to those performances,
Of course.
like you do as an actor, like you do. Maybe tell me, did you plan out in a fight? Maybe the beginning, the middle, the end.
And that's the funny thing. That's why I said the same thing it took to be a good fighter. It takes to be a good actor, and that discipline and focus. What I mean by that is, now you're doing an audition, we're doing a scene. The camera's there, the producer, the director, the casting director, whatever. You got to block them out. It's me and you. Same thing in a fight. You block out the referee. It's me and you. And that a fighter comes, he throws a punch at you. You got to counter with a punch, or he hits you with a shot. You got to come back with something. Same thing in acting. Actors audition. When you audition together, you may rehearse one way. Now it's action, and you say your line different than me, or you say it different, or come at me a little differently. I got to counter you with something, and that's the ebb and flow of a good scene. Is two great actors. The ebb and flow of two good actors.
That's what you do
And that's what
on
that's
stage,
what
right?
fighters-
Well, not only that, but I was in
Yeah.
theater. I played
Yeah.
in professional theater, Sky Masterson, Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
A lot of professional
That's
actors.
wonderful.
But that's different. Theater is so different
Oh,
than
yes.
being behind camera or being.
Absolutely.
Aren't they so
I've been on stage and I did an off-Broadway show, and it was one of the best.
Because it's do or die.
People say this. Here's what they tell you. The difference between stage and film is this. On film, your eyes go back and forth because you watch. On stage, your head goes back and forth because there's movement. So your eyes, you're watching something on a big screen, but your eyes go back and forth to watch the action. But there's a reason it's
You're
called
talking about the audience.
and that's
yes.
it. The reason it's called motion pictures because you got to start the movie in motion. It's got to be motion. It's old, there's old saying, heard of show and tell. Show, don't tell. And that's what they say about movies. Show, don't tell. Let the action speak. But on stage, it's the words. They
Not only
gotta-
that, but I have to be in tune, different than theater, because you can't look at the audience. My shows are all about the audience. I bring people on stage. I'm out in the audience. We do things that just happen, that become funny as heck, make people dance, they laugh, they cry, and it's a whole, it's something where I want people to remember for the rest of their life. Just like whether it's a boxing match, you want people, people remember those things that you did the rest of their life. And that time they had where they're watching you perform as a boxer or as an actor or seeing my show, that you'll never get that time back again.
Right, that's right.
And I let them know you're going to remember this, and that's the goal, the rest of your life. And that's what's the true impact, and that you really do a lot more for people than you might think.
No, it's funny you said that. Like friends of mine are award-winning writer, Obie Award, playwrights. And one of them, he has the best idea. He always says, love my shows or hate them. Either way, that's good. But to have no opinion about them is the worst thing for an artist.
Right.
So same thing as a singer or an actor. Hate my performance, but it moved you, good or bad, it moved you. To have to be indecisive, to have no memory of it, or to have no opinion about it is the worst thing for an artist. It got to move you, good or bad. It's got to move you, and that's me. And people go, "How was it?"
That's
No
right.
good.
That's not good.
No
And
good.
you know what? Also, people know in the entertainment business, we're including acting, we're including professional athlete. You know what? You could never ever. You can have a 5-star restaurant. I can have standing ovations after my show. You never please everybody. It's impossible. You're always going to have the 1 or 2. I'd have standing ovations, 1,500 people. I'm at Las Vegas. I get called in by the entertainment director the following week. Billy, you know we have 2 people didn't like your show. I said, I'm not kidding.
That's right.
This is how they do it.
No, I've said I've been through the years. You know, you listen to entertainers, you hear quite, and I got a chance to see a lot of them. For me, the greatest show ever. But I was Sammy Davis, by far.
Yeah.
It was a triple threat. He sang, or 5 stars. You know, sang, danced, told jokes, he did impressions. I mean, he was the consummate. Sammy Davis Jr. once said, he said, I don't know how to make everyone love. I don't know how to make everyone love me. But he said, I do know. He says, I do know how. Wait. He says, I don't know what the key to love. I don't have the key to for everyone liking me, but I do know how to make people dislike me, and that's when I try to make everyone love me. You know what I mean? In other words, and I'm probably saying it wrong.
That's pretty close.
But I'm
makes
trying to get
sense.
that word. Meaning, I don't. You ain't gonna like. Everyone's not gonna love you.
Can't
They're
happen.
not. It ain't gonna happen.
And so many.
that's if you try to get that as your goal, you're a failure.
That's why
You're
people don't. That's why they can't be in certain businesses because they think they got to
Right.
please everybody. Too much pressure, stress. Forget it. But you know what?
Oh.
Please the majority. You'll never make everybody happy. You can have a 5-star restaurant. You can have someone say, you know what? I can't stand the food.
I got it. He said, I don't know the key to success, but I do know the key to failure, and that's when I try to make everyone love me. That's
There you go.
that's it.
I-
I knew I'd get it eventually.
I love that.
Yeah, and Sammy Davis Jr. said that, and I remember reading that and hearing him say that. I read it, and then I went and a buddy of mine and Sammy Davis. I seen him on stage, and I heard him say it. He tells that story at the end of a show. He'd say that, and then I've read, of course, I read it several times, and it's the truth. It's the truth. You know, not everyone is. So you got to accept the failure. It was with the success. And look, people watching this show, and I hear people tell me, "You want the guy shut up, man? He looks like a jerk off. He's a jerk." Or other people say, "Hey, man, I'm really got something out of it today. You motivated me."
You just talked about failure, but also success. Again, very, very similar to what you have to say, and you really remind me of this. Our whole lives, we're on like a sound wave. It's up and down. We have ups and downs. We have successes and failures. The presidents have had that. The most well-known people in the world. But here's the difference between people who stay up on top and can be really successful and people who don't. Because when you have the failure, it's a lot of people who stay down. They don't know how to come back. Versus the people who, that's okay if I say, you know what? If I'm prepared for the worst case scenario, that failure, then everything else is just a bonus. But when you have the failure, I know that I'm going to learn from that and dig myself out of that hole and accomplish something versus staying down. You can have a negative this big, but believe me, there's a positive, even if it's this big. Think of this right now, Ray. Look at any tomb. This Dave Morgenstern was like the Karate Kid and the older guy, Marachi, right? That's what this
Miyagi.
Dave Morgan. That's what
Miyagi.
Dave Morgenstern was like for me.
Yeah.
Morgenstern.
He was your Miyagi.
My Miyagi. He said, you know, there's 3 parts of life. And people, you might have heard this from many wise people. 3 parts to life. Look at any tombstone in a cemetery. There's 3 parts to life. The first part of your life is the year you were born. The second part of your life is the year you died. And the third part of your life is nothing but a little inch-long dash. So remember, when you're living, your life is represented by a little inch-long dash. So make the best of your life while you're here, because you'll be a dash.
You know, it's funny because I've been asked before. People say, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been asked. I've been asked before, what would you like for it to read on your tombstone?
Yeah.
And
I
I've
think
said,
asked you that?
oh yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'd like it to say that Ray Mancini was a good son, was a good father, was a good husband, a good friend, a good Christian. I said, and not a bad fighter. And they looked at me and they said, I said that's significant. That
Well,
was
that's
what
'cause
I
what's
did.
important for
who-
you.
who
Those
I
are
am,
things that are
Who
important.
I am and what I am and what I did are 2 different things. But that made me. Don't get me wrong. But that's it. That's it. Because at the end of the day, people are going to remember who you are and what you are, the more than what you accomplished. And and I've always remembered my father. Taught me so many good lessons of life. Having a 5th grade education, my greatest life teacher. And that's what I always said. My favorite saying. I tell all the time, Raymond, always remember: one day the headline, next day the breadline. Same people calling you champ on the win can be calling you bum on the way out. Don't ever take this serious. Meaning the fame.
That's right.
And I had it. I had a good time.
Well,
with it.
you
I was
know,
taught
this,
well.
This
My
is my
father taught
first
me
time
well.
in so many years meeting you again. But there's one thing that I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this. You are so very, very humble. And you know what? And that's not a fake or facade. You're being very, very real. And one other person from Youngstown, Bernie Kosar, is the same way.
Bernie's a great guy. Yes.
But I have to tell you, you are, and I appreciate that so
But-
much. You know what?
but
It
thank
shows right through.
Thank you. But you know, what's funny you said about humility. I said, here's humility. Because I said humility. Because if not, this is a true story. I was doing a years ago. I was the grand marshal of a Italian Day parade in Eastern PA.
I just did that this past year.
Yeah, right. Eastern
Oh
PA,
my
right?
gosh.
And I'm on it doing, and I'm doing
guys
this.
are
Well, that's
double
what I'm talking about.
grand
Here's what I'm
marshal
talking about. When people talk about, you know, and I'm doing the, doing the wave. All of a sudden, a guy yells out, "Hey, I saw a guy who whip your ass." And I went, "Yeah, but I'll whip your ass." You
Just keep
my
waving.
point being is, you're gonna get these guys. And so my point being is, yeah, of course you get that. Reason you gotta be humble. You know why? Because there's nothing that a good right hand on the chin can't cure real quick. That's right. And that's why I tell people. And we were talking. Oh, I just did a thing on the PBC, right? I did a thing on PBC for the Fox, which I'm gonna talk about the fight this weekend. But anyhow, they did a 5
Wait,
minute.
you talking PBS?
No, the
No,
PBC.
the pro
PBC?
boxing.
Pro boxing champ,
he's doing,
premier boxing champions on Fox. You know, Fox
Okay.
back I'm doing the commentary for Fox.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's him.
That's
Or
it.
somebody
Tell
just
them
got
we're
their
not here.
wings.
But
I'm
here's the
not
thing.
sure.
So they do a 5 minute
Ray's
thing.
doing good, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
They said, give me a 5 minute. So they get 5 minutes. You know, it's on the internet. Just a quick blurb with Ray Mancini. They ask you 4 or 5 questions. But the last one they said, and if there's one celebrity you get in the ring, and you get in the ring to fight, who would it be? And I said, Ben Affleck. He said, I said, I never met the guy. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but you know what? I think he needs an ass whooping.
did you say?
And like that. And they said, I go, I'm sure he's a lovely guy. But when you see him on thing, he just comes off a little. I said, just one shot, a couple body shots, they can piss blood for a month. You'll be humble. My point, I don't know, you know. But so I said, Ben Affleck. Why I said the guy? I don't know.
I know, yeah.
I'm sure he's a lovely guy.
Have you been
Ben,
thinking
if you're
about this?
watching, I'm sure you're a good guy. I just, I didn't say somebody. It happened to be you. But the point I'm trying to say is, some of these guys need an ass whipping. A lot of the entertainers need ass whippings, and there's a lot of actors. And I've been around
And
some of them.
athletes.
And of course. Don't ask you a question.
How many people have asked you to be a bodyguard over the years?
No, man. No, man.
That'd be cool.
Tell them I'm not here. Anyhow, but geez, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you.
You only got 2 more
It
minutes.
would be easier if you just all you had to do is put the on volume and vibrate. Mine's on vibrate. I
We
don't know how to
reminded him.
I don't know how that works.
There's
Billy,
a vibrate machine on the side.
This is
Just
my,
turn it.
I have a flip phone. What's that?
Oh, you got that? Oh, you got the
No,
whole
I-
ass flip
You
phone.
kind of need an ass whipping.
Yeah,
There you go.
That guy needs an ass whipping for calling.
Let me
again.
tell you. Wait a minute. I was Grand Marshal last year in Little Italy in Cleveland, Ohio, for the Columbus Day Parade.
Tell me, yeah.
I
Well, you
want
know,
to
a
be a
Columbus
grand
Parade.
marshal.
Wait, and
Sucks,
so my
Lord, I'm
name's
not
on the
a
car and
grand
everything, all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm waving
don't-
like
yeah,
you. I'm
yeah,
dead serious.
yeah.
I'm waving, and what they're saying to me as I go by, "Hey, Governor!
Yeah,
Hey, Mayor! You're running for mayor."
But
They have no
did you
idea.
get that? You suck. I don't know. You saw my show, huh? Yeah.
My good friend is Judge Tony Calabrese. His father started Columbus Day Parade back in the 60s. He spent a couple $100,000, and they were the only father-son team out of the Senate and Congress there in Ohio. Do you know his father started and created Columbus Day?
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Isn't that something?
You know,
You probably know Judge Tony Calabrese.
Well, let me tell you something. Never talk about that. I was at Columbus Day years ago. This is years ago in Pueblo, Colorado. There's more Italians up there. There was it's like Youngstown, man. It's a steel mills and everything.
Pueblo, Colorado?
Pueblo, Colorado.
Where there's a lot of Native Americans, too?
a lot of Native Americans, but the most highly populated Italian city in Colorado.
Okay.
Pueblo. Because when they couldn't get jobs, when jobs were filled there, they took the train out west and the steel mills. And believe me, it was reminded me of Mahoney County. So they're doing, this is third of the Columbus Day, and I'm up there giving a speech, and the Indians across the street, and they, I mean,
Yeah, they don't
and
care
Native
for
Americans,
Columbus Day.
Native Americans. Look, I don't mean to offend people. I really, so they're picketing, and I'm up there saying, introduce me, and the people are, "Whoa," you know, they're yelling stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm here for the appearance, man. I'm with you. I'm with you because you know, of course, people don't understand. Christopher Columbus Day, of course, not just Christopher Columbus. All of the great people who came here, that the great explorers that came over. Of course, the Indians were lovely people. They said, here, take our land, take our wives, take our children. Do whatever you want.
Probably
You know,
not. Yeah.
so of course they raped, they were pillaged, they raped, and so it's if you do the true history of America and how they what we did to the Native Americans, it's atrocious. We know that. I felt so bad. I felt bad, but I'm just trying to be. I'm doing an appearance for Columbus Day, and the people, the Native Americans across the street, not rioting, but they're picketing and I said, oh
Protesting.
man, this ain't good. I can't do this. So it's just it didn't go over well. Didn't go over well.
Yeah.
Let's do some promotions before we go.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
that way,
yeah.
let's
because-
promote. What's your next
Yes,
gig?
please.
And then you can end it. How about that?
Well, I'm in the process of, I can't tell you yet because the
Oh,
contracts aren't signed.
podcast.
What we may be doing, by the way, there's a couple things. I have a lot of private events, but people certainly know that I have the group text and also on Facebook, which I'll be posting some things very, very shortly.
Okay.
By the way, we're talking with Avalon, so hopefully in
Might
the
get a gig
spring,
here.
early
Might
summer,
get a
we're gonna
gig
we're
here.
gonna. It's gorgeous over here, and I want to bring some of the friends, not only from Youngstown.
Yeah, no.
Also from
This is fabulous. And of course, Mike said earlier, we got to get, we have to get a plug for Avalon because I'm glad you did, Mike, because if not, we might not be here next week.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
You
we may
always
not
gotta-
be here. I mean,
butter the bread, you
ladies
know
and
what I
gentlemen, we'll
mean?
cancel it. Why?
Okay.
Avalon said no.
No.
We were, no, man. You at the top of the show, not at the end of the show or the middle of the show. The top of the show.
right.
We get the opening and the closing. We get everything in between.
By the way, you know what? I met for the first time some of the managers. I met the president of Avalon a little bit earlier today.
Lovely
And
man. Lovely
they're-
man.
They're
The,
very down to earth, wonderful people, and you know what? It'd be a pleasure if we could do something with them. Just like I can see why you're here.
Yeah.
You know, you have
Yeah.
a great team.
Yeah,
a
lovely
great
people,
team,
lovely
and
people,
working
and,
great together.
And things I put on social media, they sound, look good, right, John?
Yeah, no, they're good.
John,
Is there anyone better?
I don't know what the hell I'm saying, right? Because John's doing it for me. But hey, John, thank you very much. You make me look good, brother.
All right, so you're doing what? What's your next thing?
Well, I leave. Okay, yes. So I leave tomorrow morning. I'm going to the West Coast. PBC fight on Fox this Saturday night, prime time, 8 to 10. The main event is Showtime Porter from Akron, Ohio, who went to Stowe High School, fighting